All right, guys. Senator John Fetterman out of Pennsylvania. He has a nasty fall that sends him to the hospital. Listen to this.
News for you from Senator Fetterman's team. During an early walk, he sustained a fall near his home. Out of an abundance of caution, he was transported to a hospital. Upon evaluation, it was established he had a ventricular fibrillation flare-up that led to him feeling lightheaded, falling to the ground, and hitting his face with minor injuries. Senator Fetterman, always in good spirits, always an optimist, quipped to his team, "If you thought my face looked bad before, wait until you see it now." And then he thanked the EMTs. Our prayers to Senator Fetterman. America reports.
All right, like she stated, he is in the hospital. Of course, ventricular fibrillation is a heart arrhythmia where the lower chambers of the heart pump erratically. That caused him, of course, to feel a little lightheaded, and he fell on his face, literally, onto the ground. So I'm happy he can make jokes about it, and we're happy he's okay. But we have to note that this is a life-threatening arrhythmia that can cause cardiac arrest, worst-case scenarios. So let's, of course, make sure to keep him in our prayers. Now, of course, Fetterman has been taking a lot of heat because of the recent government shutdown, and just overall, Democrats look at him as a known detractor. He's a traitor amongst thieves, as you can say. He's been calling the Democrats out for a lot of their nonsense. Now, of course, with everything he's been involved with, of course, taking the Republican side in regards to the government shutdown, calling out Schumer and other Democrats for their antics, and of course, leveraging the people and the shutdown for the benefit of Democrats and their wish list. They did not like him for that. They don't want detractors on their side. They want Fetterman to step in line, have uniform thoughts and opinions on the matter, but not him. He decides to think for himself, and he calls out BS when he sees it. But now he's telling us, when it comes to the insults and the pushback he's been receiving, the vast majority of it is coming from the far left. And they are a lot more cruel in the things that they say and the way that they behave towards them than the far right has been. Listen to this.
You said, quote, "I've drunk deeply of the venom of both the left and the right. As a connoisseur, I can confirm that the most poisonous, the bitterest, is from the far left." That is pretty remarkable to hear you say that as an elected Democrat. Why?
No. It's just been my personal experience on this thing. And when I asked my digital team, I said, we're on all the platforms, really what's kind of the harshest, what's kind of the most personal? And the answer was immediate. He said, "Oh, blue sky, it's blue sky." And the difference is, the right would say really rough things and names, some names I won't repeat on TV, but the on the left, it was like they want me to die, or that we're cheering for your next stroke, or that's terrible that depression won. Why couldn't it depression won? And I hope your kids find you. They even have like the graphic, a GIF where they have like a stroke, in your head, cheering at that. Yeah, and they said that. I remember one. They claimed, "Oh, the doctor let us down, and why did they have to save his life?" Just really like. I just can't imagine. People are wishing, I wish he dies, or I want him to die, literally cheering for a stroke. And I don't know what the kind of a place where that comes from. That's much different than just calling me a name. That's really been consistent, in that community online.
Why is it that the most vitriolic comments always come from the left? When we say that the left has a violence problem, it continues to prove itself true day after day. Do you want to know some very unusual characteristics of demonic activity? It's that when you join, it's as easy as possible to get in, you're accepted, you're embraced. But when it's time to leave, it's always met with violence and or Control-Alt-Deletion of your life. For example, when you join a gang, you're part of a brotherhood. But when time comes for you to leave, what happens? You get jumped out, or they attempt to Control-Alt-Delete you. When you join Islam, same exact thing. They love you, they embrace you. You're part of a community, the brotherhood. But when it's time to leave, the penalty for apostasy is capital punishment. Same thing that you see amongst the left. The only problem is they have a problem with laws that currently exist. I'm at a point now, I believe, that if you were to try to leave the left sometime in the future, we might even get to a point where you're not just met with harassment, name calling, threats to your family. You're going to be met with violence and maybe one day even the Control-Alt-Deletion of your life as well. We know we see that in George Orwell's 1984. We see it in the Bible and the end times. You can't just leave the beast. You can't just leave the system. That is one common characteristic I see whenever there are evil entities involved in something. Now, to bring it back to Fetterman, I pray for his health to be restored. It's tough that he's, of course, going through this. Whatever happened when he had that accident, man, it's really recalibrated his mindset and brought him back center. And it's great to see that that can happen. But of course, it's necessary to see how the left operates. If you ever want to consider becoming a publicly outspoken liberal, just know that there will be a cost when it's time to leave.
You think that flags should have been flown at half staff? Do you think his body should have been flown on Air Force Two? Do you think he should have posthumously be given the Presidential Medal of Freedom? I think some people felt that that was perhaps over the top in terms of mourning someone like Charlie Kirk. How did you feel about that?
I'd say that was his choice and his prerogative, and that was really entirely up to him.
Did you have any issues now in hindsight over some of the things that Charlie Kirk said and some of the rhetoric he used during his life?
I didn't agree with much of it. I didn't closely follow his specific kinds of views, but I did.
I'm sure you learned about them after his death, though.
No, I haven't done a deep dive on it. We've all seen that terrible video. Perhaps if you've seen the actual video, I have. And it's like appalling. And that's part of the political violence. And from what I'm saying, it's like that's unacceptable. And engaging in a debate and views I strongly disagree on, that's part of the American democracy. And for me, it's that would never justify what's happened. And I just chose not to take the opportunity to argue his views after children lost his father in the most violent public way. So that's, I would say the equivalent on the left might be, say, Mr. Piker. I strongly disagree with his views, but I'm appalled if something like that happened to him. Oh my God. That's, we have to disagree in better ways where, you're going to solve it by shooting people. And that's why the kinds of rhetoric, we have to turn the temperature down. Extreme rhetoric makes it easier for extreme reactions or to justify them.
I think some people might say Charlie Kirk's rhetoric was extreme. I think that's the conversation that happened. People condemned political violence, but they also felt a great deal of discomfort with his language, suggesting that these kinds of words lead to violence. I don't know. I'm just kind of sharing my observations as I saw the conversations unfold.
Yeah, I agree. I think we agree that we probably didn't agree with much of what he said. And I'm sure we both agree that you shouldn't shoot people, and you shouldn't execute them in public. And I think that's two things must be true. That free speech, I'm an absolute free speech guy, and you have the right to say these things, and you definitely also have the right not to get shot by sharing your views.
Why is Katie Couric so focused on getting him to disavow Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk, of course, was somebody who stood at the forefront of culture. He stood at the forefront of divide, and he sat there knowing the attacks he was going to receive, the kind of danger it would put his life in, and he spoke truth. He shared the gospel message every single day. He spoke the gospel message on college campuses. He spoke the gospel messages in Washington, D.C. It did not matter where he was never ashamed or afraid of the gospel. Not only that, he engaged the culture on the most difficult conversations to navigate, whether it's abortion, whether it's the 2020 lockdowns, race issues in America, the rainbow community. It didn't matter because he understood that if you can meet the university students who were the most impressionable and the most important demographic to reach in regards to shape the final shaping of their minds, he still did it. And it cost him his life because when it came down to it, people couldn't disagree with him and debate their position with facts and empirical data. They chose to respond with violence, and take the life of a father, a brother, a son, and a husband. And here she is trying to get Fetterman to disavow him instead of addressing the fact that the liberals have a violence problem. Why is it that they cannot engage civil discourse? Well, with that being said, again, my prayers go up to the Fetterman family. Hopefully, of course, he can heal and get back to it, calling out the BS as he sees it. If you guys have any thoughts, let me know down below. Make sure to leave a comment, and subscribe. And remember, Christ is King. Let's keep growing this channel. See you guys.